Hey there, and welcome to Matt's Garage and another car review with Matt. So today we're here with my own 2006 Mercedes ML350, and I'm just going to go over some of the basic features and mostly the driving characteristics of this vehicle and some things I think you should know if you're looking at buying one. Okay guys, and so since this is an SUV, you may be questioning what its off-road capabilities are like. All these vehicles come standard with a basic off-road setting here. So now we have a snowy hill here that we're going to climb. So under the hood we have this 3.5 liter V6, makes 268 horsepower. I'm liking it. It's a great engine in my opinion, great on gas, getting about 25 miles to a gallon on the highway, which is great for a vehicle like this I think. And there's great access in here actually with the V6. There's tons of room ahead of the engine to access everything on the front of the engine. These covers just lift off really easy. You can see there's just all this room everywhere and everything's quite accessible. So really like that. That'll save me money. So exterior wise, again, I think the vehicle's aged really well. I think the design holds up nicely with today's SUVs. It's got a nice aggressive look to it. It looks very Benz-like. You know, it's got that distinctive look to it, and I think they've kind of lost that a bit on their newer SUVs. They've kind of stretched out the lights and kind of made them look like all the other SUVs on the road, and I don't really like that. So I know a lot of people prefer even the facelifted models from 09 to 11 are more popular than these 06 to 08s, but personally this is my preference. Anyways, either way, if you buy an older Benz, the nice thing is most people don't really know how old it is. Most people, unless they're a big fan of the brand, can't really tell you within 10 years the age of a Benz. So you know, you could tell people this was a 2016 and most people would believe you. And so there's a lot of value in that. If you're just looking to show off a little, this vehicle still makes a great impression even though it's an 06. A nice thing about it is it doesn't disappoint from any angle. It looks good from the back, from the front, from the side. It's kind of got a muscular look to it. They really pronounced the wheel arches and stuff there, and it's got the nice big 19-inch wheels on it. So inside the ML, I actually have quite a rare interior in mine. This color inside is very uncommon. I've only seen one other since with this, but I really love it myself. So as far as driver comfort, there's just a couple things I think you should know here. First of all, this seat is awesome. It's got these nice big bolsters on it and it just feels like it's hugging you, and it is kind of firm. It's not the softest seat, but it just, at least for me, fits me really good, conforms to me really good, and on a longer trip it just feels like it fits me even better, and I get more comfortable as it goes. You can see it doesn't hold up that great. They just used MB Tex, they call it on here, which is clearly a bonded leather, like a leather veneer on a backing. So you know, it cleans up good and looks good for a while, and then it gets to a point where it starts to dry out and crack, whereas leather would just, you know, show some signs of wear. This actually starts to peel. So I'm annoyed by that. This I think is just the owner kind of twisting as they got off the base of the seat. I don't think this is really the fault of the material here. It looks like good quality suede to me actually. But I do the same thing just because of the height of the vehicle. You actually sit really high up in this vehicle, and so you kind of have to twist your way in and out of it. It's just that way. So the one other thing is I have long legs, like I have a 34-inch inseam, and I actually have the seat as far back as it will go and as far up as it will go, and as you can see, it's kind of leaned back quite a bit too, and you know, I have just enough room. It's just adequate for me. So if you're really tall, you might want to just make sure you take it on a good test drive and make sure it's comfortable for you, because I could see there not being enough legroom for some people. The steering wheel is great. The steering's great. The steering's nice and light, has just the right feel to it. Turns really sharp. Steering wheel's great. Really soft, nice to grip. I like the stitching here on the back side. Kinda has a nice feeling when you're gripping it, and all the controls are nice to use and everything. It's got shifters on the back of each side if you want to shift manually through the gears. It does have a 7-speed transmission, if I didn't already mention that, and the transmission itself is it's not the smoothest shifting, if I'm honest, but so the center stack, I really like the layout here. First of all, the climate control is just individual dials, really easy to adjust up and down, really easy to quickly see where you adjust it to. The fan speed is buttons, which I'm not normally a fan of, but these ones react really quickly. You can just zip it up and down in a second, so not too bad there, and it's really effective. The heated seats, again, really easy. One touch gets them on full, and then you can just keep dialing them back until they go off, and they'll go off automatically with the key as well. So your off-road setting that I was showing you earlier, this is basic on the ML. All MLs have this. If you've got one with the Airmatic air ride suspension, you can have an optional off-road setting which will raise up the suspension and stuff, and it has like a rock crawl mode and stuff. This is just a basic setting that basically holds the gears longer and lets it, it kind of feels like a low range when you engage it. It tends to rev a little more before you get moving and stuff like that. Then you got your hill descent control. If you're trying to go down a slippery slope or a steep hill, you can use that. And then that ESP off, that's just for your traction control. You can see up here on the dash, you'll get that triangle indicator. See, I just turned it off, then back on again. And then these cup holders here are lit, and I like this area. It's a nice kind of stash all, and there's room to put stuff around here, but the problem is I tend to lose stuff down here all the time. I kind of wish this just was like a big bin in the console here, and that they put sides on it, or at least more of a lip there. And then your cigarette lighter and everything is just right there, your ashtray. So I never really use that. So the nicest thing here is none of this climate control has any connection to the screen here whatsoever. You don't need to even have this on. I just use this for a radio. It does have your navigation in there as well if you want to use that. I normally use a phone for that kind of thing. So and the radio works great. It has great reception. It's the Harman system here, and it really sounds pretty impressive. One of my favorite songs came on the other day, and I cranked her up, and yeah, it's a good rocking system there for sure. And then the console bin here, a nice big storage bin there. The lid locks open so it won't fall down. And then the only thing that can make it better is if it had a soft close feature. It doesn't, but it does have this secondary compartment right there. And nice latching system, very quality and everything. And then the shifter here, I'm actually kind of a fan. I wasn't sure at first, but this soft touch shifter, and then you just tap in the end to put it in park, and works nicely and gives you more room in your console area. The one thing about it though is because of that, they had to kind of jam everything onto this one stock here for the controls, and so this is a little bit busy here, and it takes some getting used to at first. And then the cruise control stock here is pretty standard. If you've driven a Benz before, it's exactly the same, but I do find this one a little finicky. I actually own 2 older Benzes and I love the cruise control on them. And this one, the problem with it is it has a rapid up and down function. If like when you set it, you go all the way down in the control like that. But if you just want to bump the speed up or down, you're just supposed to do a light tap like that. But myself, I find it kind of finicky, and often when I intend to just do the light tap to speed it up or slow it down slightly, it tends to do the full 10 km/h increase or decrease, which can be annoying if you're in tight traffic and you're just trying to kind of hold your position. So I just wanted to talk about the headlight controls a little. I don't really like the feature too much, and I'll tell you why. Well, one thing, it's not backlit. The one switch in this vehicle that isn't, and it's the one switch you're for sure going to use after dark. Like, they backlight the door handles and everything on this vehicle, which is really nice, but for some reason this switch was neglected. Also the fact that it's got so many settings, and yet the auto setting's almost useless because you can't use the high beams or the fog lights on the auto setting. You have to turn it all the way to here to turn on the headlights basically, and then if you want the front fog lights on, you pull the switch out once, and then there's actually a cool feature, there's rear fog lights. You pull the switch out again and the rear fog lights come on, so that's pretty cool. So these stocks in general, I do love using them. They have a really nice feel to them. They're really satisfying to use. You just know some German engineer probably spent thousands of hours making sure they had just the right feel to them, and mission accomplished, because they are extremely nice to just move and stuff. They don't have like a cheap clicky feel to them, so I really like that. It does have a adjustable steering column, as you can see, a telescoping one. This one doesn't have the electronic adjustment on it. I believe that is an option, but this one just has the peasing adjuster there, just the hand adjustment. So of course you got your very nice sill plates and fantastic carpeting and everything. This vehicle came with these floor mats in it, these aftermarket accessory mats, so they're great to keep everything clean. So yeah, overall I love the interior. I love spending time in it. I love the dash design with the round vents and everything. It's very aggressive looking and quite modern looking, because most of the newer Mercedes products have gone back to round vents. They had all gone to rectangle or square ones again for a while, but now they're all back to these round style ones, so it makes this vehicle look very current for an 06. So moving on into the back seat here, again it's a nice area to be, nice and comfortable. So you can see I'm sitting in the rear seat now, and the front seat still moved back as far as it will go, and I still have room to sit back here comfortably, so 4 adults could travel somewhere in this vehicle and be very comfortable. So the one small issue we've had with this vehicle is this is the cargo bay, of course, back here, and you can see it's a sizable area, but unfortunately the lift motor has broken on our rear door, so that's why I'm showing it to you from this angle. You can see we also have the nice accessory mat there to keep everything nice. And since all SUV owners also own a dog, got plenty of room for your dog in the back, right, Reese Bear? Okay guys, there's a really bad bump coming up in the road here, so we're just going to show you how it handles over it. I'm going to hit it faster than I normally would, and you'll just see if there's any creaks or rattles. See, they even have a bump sign there, and I'm just going to... So that was at like 40 kilometers an hour, which is like 25 miles an hour, and you can see handles it nicely. It's not the smoothest riding vehicle. It's not like a super cushy, luxurious ride. It's like a really nice riding truck is how I would describe it. This vehicle drives like a truck, but a really nice truck. Like it's, you know, really nice and easy to drive and handle and keep on the road. it's not at all a handful, but it's also not a sports car. You're not going to go zipping around corners. You definitely feel the weight of it through the corners and when you're braking and stuff, and there's some body roll for sure. Here we go, back over the bump. Boom. Okay guys, I'm just going to do like a little 0 to 60 pull here. I'm not going to quite floor it, but it'll give you a good idea how it accelerates. So there we go. Pretty quick. It gets up there. You won't have any trouble passing traffic or anything in this. It just keeps going from there. Like if you're doing a high-speed highway pass, you're not going to run out of power, trust me. So we're just driving down a secondary highway right now at 100 kilometers an hour, 60 mile an hour, and I have to mention that I have a set of really aggressive snow tires on the vehicle right now, and they increase the road noise dramatically. But when we bought the vehicle, it had a nice set of Michelins on it, like summer tires, and it was like riding in a vacuum in here. It was really quiet, very, very little road noise. With these snow tires, I get a little bit of feedback through my steering wheel as well, but when I had the other tires on there was none of that. It was just a really nice, pleasant, smooth and quiet vehicle, as you would expect a luxury SUV like this. Now, I don't have a whole bunch to compare this to SUV wise, because I haven't driven a lot of modern SUVs. It's not really a segment I have a lot of interest in, to be honest, but my wife badly wanted an SUV, and this was one we could both agree on. And I am actually, it's really grown on me, but it's still, this is kind of the top SUV for me, so I was happy we were able to afford that. That's another thing I wanted to kind of touch on in this review is like this is a 2006 model, and you can generally find them between $7,000 and $9,000 depending on the mileage, which is actually incredibly good value, because we were cross shopping to 2008 Hyundai Santa Fe was one of the other vehicles we really considered. That was, we had found a limited model with all the leather inside and everything, so a very comparable vehicle to this, and it was right around the same price and miles, and so the only difference being it was 2 years newer than this vehicle. But this vehicle, the thing with buying a used Mercedes is when somebody's paying $60,000, $70,000 for a vehicle new, they tend to care for it better. And so this vehicle was likely garage kept, all that kind of stuff, and so 2 years older, but it doesn't really show because of how the vehicle's likely been cared for. If you are considering buying one of these vehicles, I just wanted to touch on a few issues that they tend to have that you might want to be aware of. And one of them is with this 3.5 liter engine, they had issues with the balance shaft wearing out, essentially the timing chain getting slack, and to fix that issue is very expensive. And another issue they tend to have is with the intake manifold. They have actuators in there for the throttle plates, and the linkage on them can break, and it's again quite a labor intensive job. You got to swap out the whole manifold, the intake manifold, which is about a $1,500 part. So there's a few big ticket items that could go wrong, and that's why if you're buying one of these vehicles, you should get a pre-purchase inspection done and make sure that you're getting a good one. These are a great vehicle, but I mean, they're not perfect, so you know, it's a 14-year-old vehicle, what can you expect? So bear that in mind. But for the price point, if you shop wisely, you'll be really happy with one of these vehicles. And we're just gonna demonstrate road noise, feedback, that kind of thing on a rougher surface. And you can hear it's not perfect. There's you know, a little bit of stuff rattling around in here, but this is really extreme. I don't know how it shows on camera, but we're really bouncing around in here. If you watched my recent review of the 2020 Dodge Caravan, this is the same rough road that I took it down, and this is definitely a more refined experience. So you can see how bad this road is, and we're traveling on it at about 70 kilometers an hour right now, which is about 45 miles an hour. You always feel really in control with the 4MATIC all-wheel drive. The one thing I will say about it is if you push it too hard, which I did to see what would happen, the vehicle does have a tendency to understeer, and it will plow out and kind of just slide sideways. But it's actually very easy to recover from that. You can just simply get off the gas, and that's normally enough, or just tap on the brakes and it will just, you know, pull right out of that because of all the you know, electronic systems that are fighting that skid basically. But I don't know, I think it's driveways. So to me, the turning radius of this vehicle is downright impressive. It turns sharper than a PT Cruiser, which is actually what I was driving before we got this vehicle. Okay guys, we're just going to be going over a couple rumble strips here. You can hear how that sounds. And then we're just slowing down for a stop here, and so that brings me to another minor complaint I have, is just brake pedal feel. The engagement point on the pedals quite a ways down, and also I believe it's like an electronic assist. And so it feels a little notchy. It feels like the engagement point's not always in the same place, and that sort of thing. Other than that, the brakes are very effective, and I have no complaints with them. It's just the actual pedal feel. So that's pretty well going to conclude this review though on the 2006 ML350. Overall, a vehicle I really like and would highly recommend. So also a big thanks to my wife Marisol and my son Nash for helping me to film this review, and a big thanks to you, the viewer, for watching it. So please make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss upcoming reviews and other awesome content. Thanks a lot for watching Matt's Garage, and have yourself a great day.